Welcome, everybody, to the Independent Mind podcast. We are your hosts. I am DJ Mixwell, and as always, I am with my boy, Giovanni. How are you doing?
Dude, I am so hyped to have our old friend. We grew up with this man, absolute legend back in school, Black Lee, or as we know him now, Devin Coleman. So I'm super excited for it, man.
Yeah, this is someone who I consider family. Shit, he lived with my family for a little bit. It's my motherfucking brother. Black Lee, how are you doing, dude?
Man, well, first off, I'm doing great. Well, I just want to say thank you guys. What you guys are doing with this podcast is beyond you, so I'm blessed to be here. I'm doing great being with you guys.
Yeah, man, it's only right that we got you on. You're doing great things. You make me proud. It definitely sucked watching you move out to California, but I know everything is for the bigger picture, for the family. So definitely want to say how proud I am of how far you've gotten this far.
Man, well, thank you. I'm about to cry. It's a little too early to start crying, but I appreciate it.
Wiping the fake tears away.
No, because you guys know the kind of the struggles I kind of went through, so I appreciate it because you guys were always there as a support. So it's all love.
Yeah, man. For the people who don't really know, give us a little background on yourself.
Yeah, man. So I'm just a native Las Vegas kid, raised in the suburbs of Las Vegas, Northwest. And I just was just like every other Vegas kid. We had our fun times. We would like to party and, go to school sometimes. And then, yeah, my life kind of changed when I had my first kid in high school. And ever since then, kind of just been doing my own thing for the greater good. So
yeah, that's
pretty much it for now.
Yeah, that's funny that you brought that up because I was just thinking about it earlier that you and Giovanni were like hella young when you guys had your kids. I think you had yours first, but you were in high school when you first had your kids. So I guess we'll start off with that. You're a senior in high school and you have a kid. Explain the emotions, and did that start to like change your life, and like how did that affect you back then?
It was kind of different, and I feel like every male that has a kid will get that feeling. It's like, whoa, it's kind of shocking a little bit. You're kind of like, how will my life be with this? But it's something that adds to your life, so it rides with you. You kind of grow up with your kid, at least coming young. But for me, it was kind of rough. I didn't have support from my parents, with having a kid and all that. So luckily, my in-laws, they were very supportive. My senior year, I actually moved out of my parents' house, lived with them, and was trying to make things right. But I was too young, and then my environment was not the right environment because I was still not being the dad that I should have been. It's all a learning process.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's very true. The environment that we were all around was such a crazy one that definitely involved a lot of partying. Yeah, and I couldn't even imagine having a kid while doing all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely brought up something on like, becoming the father figure that you should be. And I found even myself, I had my first kid around 21, 22. And I noticed for the first fucking couple years, dude, no clue what the hell I'm doing, no emotional attachment the way it should be, like no grasp of the responsibilities that you have. And just like, I would say the last year or two, it's really started to hit me and I've really started to like fill those shoes. Did you find yourself like around on that same boat where like the first couple years, you're not really understanding what the hell's going on, so you don't take it as serious as it really is?
Absolutely. And that just comes with maturity, and that's one thing my parents always stress. Like in high school, I didn't have a car because they thought I wasn't mature enough to drive, which they were right, So my parents knew me best, so I kind of respected how they felt, but then again, didn't. But yeah, it was hard for me to grasp that. And I have 3 girls now, and really, my third one, which is a little over a year old, that's the one now I've kind of really like, I put so much time into it, that's when time management kind of clicked in. Even my second one, I still didn't fully grasp it. So it's all a learning process. I remember my mom said, you're going to grow with your kids. And she was right. She was definitely right. So.
It's such a unique experience, because your kids are looking up to you as this role model, and you're fucking stumbling all over yourself because you still don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're still a kid, and it's like, I wonder how that's gonna unfold, later on in life, like when we finally stabilize, if we're gonna be able to connect to them better because of that,
right?
Because of our youth, and they saw us, as we were silly and goofy as fuck.
Yeah,
I think about
and that kind of hit me recently too. I always think, because now Layla, she's about to be in third grade, so I think back when I was in third grade.
So crazy, dude! Like, oh
crazy,
man,
time flies.
Yeah.
So I think back when I was in third grade, how my dad was towards me and how my mom was. I kind of think like, oh, maybe my dad was too strict for these things. So you know what? I'm not going to make sure I do that. Because as parents, I think how we're raised as kids, when we become parents, we have those same traits how our parents raised us, and we kind of push that same envelope on our kids. Dude. It's a natural thing. You try to fight, you're like, oh, you catch yourself, but it's kind of finding a happy medium to kind of balance that out, And so I try to always think of things I didn't have, and then I try to provide that for my kids in some ways,
Dude, you couldn't have said it better. That shit runs so deep. Like, whenever like Aveen acts up or something, I'm like, I'm about to spank this child. I'm about to kick her ass right here and there. And I'm just like, hold on. And like, I'm a boy, first of all. Like, so my mom was like justified to kick my ass. She was a single mother, and then for me to like repeat that same pattern with a girl, like that's definitely not the way to go. And like, but it just goes to like show how hardwired like repeating the same way you were parented to your kids can go. And like, if you don't check that shit, you'll just make a copy of yourself, which like ultimately we want our kids to be better than us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm just listening from the sidelines, like, shit,
your time will come, buddy.
Yeah, I hope when I'm a parent, I hope I'm not like my parents who my mom was serving me blows. Same with my dad.
Giving you that like, 2-piece and a biscuit, buddy.
Yeah,
I hope I'm not socking up my parent or my kid.
Yeah, well, the thing I see, even with both of you guys, Giovanni, your mom, and then your parents, your parents had a good medium though. My parents were so strict on stuff. Your parents always supported you guys in whatever you wanted to do. My parents didn't always support it. But I think that's a culture thing too, because my mom's from Korea, so there's always like a little barrier, and she thinks the Korean way is the way I should be raised in America, when it's not like that, So, but yeah, we all come from different backgrounds and different things. But
I remember like picking you up once, like when we were like 17 or something. You told me this fucking story about like ants, like in the house or something, like ants being like, what was like, or were they like good luck or something? Like, I remember you told me this fucking story about ants or like spilled rice or something, dude. And I was just like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, that's the Korean culture. My mom says the black ants, if they're in your house, which means, there's food in there, so you're not really clean, but that's good luck. So don't do nothing to kill them, which is kind of.
Yeah, that's what it was, bro. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
That's funny. I totally forgot about that until you said that right now. Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, this is like the beauty of like, childhood friends, where like you created such a deep bond that like, dude, the last time we spoke, it's been what, like fucking 2 years. I was living in California. We stopped by like Chuck E. Cheese or something. I think that's like the last time we actually spoke, but like even then it was like, boom, we're right back as if like no time was skipped.
It's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing indeed. There's actually, not to make this sound morbid, but there's a quote I heard, and they say, as you get older, you get more dead friends. More people have passed, and that kind of cherish those memories more. So that's one thing that kind of helped shift my mind too. Even with starting my business or martial arts, is kind of we all have that time that's going to come, you know. So, and we don't know when it's going to come. So that's why we got to tackle everything we want now, because we never know when that time is up.
Absolutely,
Fact.
dude.
That's a fact. Yeah, no, that's super relatable. I'd be thinking about all the dead friends that I have, whether if they were friends, old associates, my first sponsor for music that had died tragically, like out of nowhere. Um, Very true. And it's like, it's a beautiful thing when you do have those friends that where you can just pick up right where you left off, because one day it's either going to be on whoever's end it is, it's going to be just a memory that you have. And if you're able to have those in life with your with people that used to be friends with, or and as everybody gets older too, everyone starts to do their own thing. So it just makes it dope when I guess we can just call it old friends, which is not what I really would want to consider it. But it's like when you can pick up right where you left off, I find that such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Am I the only one that, like, whenever you're like at a gathering with a lot of like friends or family, you just look around and you're like, I wonder who's gonna die next.
Whoa, whoa. Hey, you know what? Hey.
You guys have never thought of that? Like, just looked in a circle, like you're all sitting around a fire or something, like, which one of you motherfuckers is next? Is it me?
No,
Like,
I kind of that's crazy. You know, that's maybe a high thought. You know, when I smoke too much weed, I kind of get in my head a little bit. You know, you kind of like, what? Like, why am I thinking that? But no, I've done that, but more on like the opposite end. Like, man, out of all these people here, how many people are going to be working 9 to 5s for someone else, and how many people are going to have autonomy? You know, be doing their own thing. So that's the only thing I thought of. But you know what? Now I'm going to start thinking about that.
I'm a little bit fucked up, dude. Like, I'm sorry. We're talking about morbid. Like,
that's funny.
That's a bit darker.
me and my brother were just joking about that yesterday, because what was it on Mother? I think it was for like his birthday. We were celebrating my brother's birthday and my little nephew's birthday at the same time. And my brother had a Nipsey Hussle like vinyl get shipped to my parents' house. And I was looking at it, and it just completely dropped out of my hands, and it bent the corner of the vinyl and of what it came in. And you can just, my brother doesn't get mad, but you can kind of like, you can see the fat disappointment that he had in me. And yesterday we were talking about it, and I asked him if he was able to get a new one shipped yet. And he said no. And I was like, I mentioned something about, I was like, well, at least you have the memory of me. And then something about it got brought up. We were like, yeah, fuck it. It's like I forgot how it was. So it's going to be pretty out of context right now, but it was like something about me like dying. He's like, well, if you died, this is the memory that I got. And I was like, well, hopefully it's just a memory that I'm still alive, and you can just be slightly salty with me.
Yeah. Dang. You know, and that's something, since we're on the topic of death a little bit. I've had a few friends or people I know that, like, the last time I seen them before they passed, it wasn't on good terms. You know, like there was something that happened, like something that doesn't matter, but I got upset about, and I'm like, kind of pushed them away. And then I found that like they passed away, you know? So now I kind of always, everyone I meet, it doesn't matter, a random person, I treat them like they're my brother, because I feel like we all come from the same thing. Like, outside of religion, whatever you believe in, we're all brothers. We all come from the same thing. So we should all be here for each other, because I feel like that's the biggest purpose at the end of the day.
Love thy neighbor. I just wanted to throw that. Yeah,
there we go. Love thy neighbor
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we share the same. I think we share the same personally with Dale.
Yep, exactly.
You know, just kind of just leaving the earth on bad terms. And to be honest with you, I can't even really remember what it was about. Can't even remember why we were pissed at him. Or maybe you might remember, but I don't. And then tragedy strikes, and it's like, damn, like fuck, like that's how it was with the with Todd too. I mean, what it didn't
I
end like
forgot
with,
about Todd, man. I forgot it. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
RIP to him.
oh, man,
That one didn't really end with beef. I think that was just more so like just separation and all that,
cutting ties.
and just going different ways in life. But yeah, definitely the one with Dill was, I think, was probably one of the first times to where it was like, damn, like someone left this earth, and it was kind of like on beef in terms, almost not like green light on him, but like,
Yeah, it was.
like definitely upset with him for sure. It's a
Yeah,
crazy fucking
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it definitely is, So now it's like, man, that animosity and even just getting angry, there's no point to it because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It's
Yeah.
anger or that stuff doesn't help you. It makes things kind of worse. That's how I see it.
Yeah,
No,
I've noticed
100% right.
I've noticed with when I got clean from alcohol and weed, that I've noticed like my anger kind of like going away and kind of just becoming a new person, and which is what I'm very thankful for, because I would get upset at people, especially when it was a lot of drinking involved, and then kind of just be beefing with people that like that you're cool with and shit like that, like
Right.
um but yeah, holding like that animosity and just that anger towards people, I've noticed that like leave me. What about you? I mean, obviously you just said that, but have you
Yeah.
noticed that more like as you gotten older, or what has kind of like spawned that thought?
Yeah. Anger management is something I always dealt with. I remember in third grade, I got put in anger management. I didn't do nothing angry, but I guess I was angry. But I got put in that, and I did counseling too. My dad put me in counseling, but I always had that like sensitive side, like thin skin. Like I would get agitated about nothing. So now, and how you bring up like getting sober and like how AA is. There's an old philosophy. It's like 2,000 years old, called Stoicism, and that kind of helped shift me. It's kind of like
Stoicism.
yeah. So my shirt, this is a shirt I made, by
Yeah.
the way. It's a
Nice.
Stoic shirt, but
I
it's
noticed
like
that.
you can't control external things. All we can control is ourselves, how we react to things. Because at the end of the day, I can't make this person do this or act this way, but I can change my thoughts or how I feel about something. So I try to. There's a quote. It's be the cliff that the waves keep crashing, but the rocks still stand still. As the water passes through and subsides. So I try to use that to help me because everyone has their little pet peeve that makes them angry. But I feel like us being human, being rational beings, we kind of have that choice to let it affect us or not. So
You know,
That's a dope ass quote. And just a quick thing, did you go to AA, or is that just something that you learned from that?
no, no, that's just something that the philosophy taught, and it's 2,000 years old. It's ancient philosophy. The Greeks used to be deep into
yeah.
that. So and that's been a big thing that helped me transition even to starting up my business, was that because there was a point where I got into like this really stressful thing, and I started to panic and almost become suicidal. And I kind of turned to this philosophy, and it helped me like get back on my feet, like control my thoughts and this kind of stuff. And now it made me bloom and blossom into this big flower, I like to say. Now all I like to do is just try to pollinate all the other plants around me, try to help motivate other people. So,
That's
That's
fucking
awesome,
sick.
dude.
Yeah, I remember we were having that conversation in DMs.
yeah.
I think I might have been like at a low point in my life, and it was kind of like we were talking about that, and
Yeah.
super dope that that's what you learned from that. And we actually had an episode, or
It was
I
last
think it was,
episode, dude.
yeah, it was last episode actually. We were talking about suicide,
Deep,
which is
bro.
kind of, yeah,
We're gonna clip
we
that and
got,
send that shit to you, dude. Like,
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
we
I'll
got
check it
into
out.
it
yeah,
pretty
you'll like
deep.
it.
Um, but that's
Wow.
super dope that you were able to, um, I guess really both of us, but really just focusing on you. Really dope that you were able to get to that point and then bounce back from that, and then not only bounce back, just gain a fucking whole crazy like positive mindset of that. Because once when you're
Yeah.
in like once when you're down into that like once you're into that mindset, it's a fucking scary place, and it's such a rock bottom point. And it's just something that if you're able to beat it, man, things get better
crazy.
like pretty fucking quick once you get to that point, if you allow yourself to.
Exactly.
That's the key word, is allow yourself to.
Super dope that you were able to get to that point and just fucking grow, because my brother and I were having that like topic of conversation before, and it was like, man, like if you take yourself out, you just miss so fucking much. Like you would miss, like for you, like you would miss your daughters growing up, you know, you would miss those proms, you would miss that first car, you would everything that you would miss just because of a slumping point. It's fucking crazy.
Exactly. And I'm sorry.
Okay, I like have this point like I just really want to make, and I don't want it to go too far off topic to where it's too late. You mentioned stoicism. I've spent some time researching stoicism myself and looking into it. Um, and I wanted to ask you, like, how long have you been looking into it yourself? Like, around what time period that sparked?
It was right when everything got shut down. So that was like beginning of 2020, roughly. Because right before the pandemic, I think I got COVID before they even put it out there, like, hey, there's a coronavirus. Because I got really sick, and that kind of spun me into the mental illness, like where I was getting like suicidal and panicking over little stuff, you know. So, but that's when I got into it, and it helped. You know, first I started with like YouTube videos of just ancient quotes, and these quotes kind of like, whoa, like this is natural for this to be like this. You know, we're supposed to have that type of adversity, but we're here to endure and adapt. You know, that's what life is all change. So that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like that. So after that, doing the YouTube videos, I started getting books, you know, reading ancient books. And then I just started implementing it. Because when people hear philosophy, they think, oh, that's a guy that just writes down his thoughts and wonders about the world. But the Stoic philosophy is about applying it to life. You know? So there's one guy, and I have his face on my shirt. His name is Marcus Aurelius. He was known as the philosopher king and the last good emperor of Rome. Because Rome's history, they had some crazy emperors. I mean, like some really twisted people. But this guy, he had absolute power over the world. You know, he could do whatever he wanted, but he never let that corrupt him. He did things for the greater good. And he had a book called Meditations that he wrote within the 20-year span. It's just a journal to himself, but that right there, like, changed my life. It changed my life so much. I bought a book for my dad for Christmas and mailed it to him. He like, read awesome. This and tell me what you think, you know? So now I kind of, it changed my whole life, man, just how I approach everything. It's crazy.
Okay. So
I'll send it to you.
Yeah. So about 2 years ago, and you know what's interesting, as far as like from my understanding of Stoicism, it's a lot of like almost like you mentioned, like you are that cliff and allow the waves to keep crashing through you, but stand tall. And I feel like you've always had that mentality, even when we were younger, when we used to, you know, be fucking gym rats, or even whenever we were working together, you always had this mentality of like knowing what needs to be done and just full sending it and not letting a single obstacle stop you. And like I feel like that adapts really well to that stoicism. Like it seems almost natural, almost like your personality and like your work ethic, you know, like your lifestyle fits into that really, really well. And that's something I wanted to bring up. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that insight. That's very kind. I never even really noticed that, but by you saying that,
you've always had it, dude. No, it's extremely rare. I mean, even like you're the one that got me into fitness, you know, and you got me into like workout, and like you had this mindset towards it where like this is gonna suck. Let's do the thing that sucks the most because it's gonna yield the best result. And like, yeah, this shit's awful, but let's just do it. And like that's very, very like, I mean, think about the fucking 8-hour arm workout that we did. Like that shit's insane. Like what the hell? Who the hell works out just arms for 8 hours?
8 hours straight,
yeah, like, and I don't know, I think somewhere deep in there is like some very stoic roots, you know, whether that's something you developed from your father or, you know, some lessons down your life, or like maybe that's just naturally embedded in you. That's really interesting that you've come full circle into that.
Yeah, that's thinking about it now, that's kind of crazy that you say that. And I really do appreciate that. That seems like an honest thing you're saying. But I see it as life, like we're meant to endure, there's positives and negatives. Like we should never be surprised by anything that happens in life, anything tragic or good, because it's all about the balance. Like, for example, like imagine 2000 years ago, a lady giving birth. That's like the worst pain they can go through, like excruciating pain. But what's the end result? A life that you're bringing, a life that comes from you. So that just shows that's how life kind of works. There's always that kind of balance. So I see nothing is good or evil, on earth. Just earth is kind of a place for good or evil, if that makes sense a little bit.
No, absolutely.
Hey, let me just add too, as an emperor, you are definitely that, because one thing for sure, you are ready to go to war.
You know what?
Good or bad, you are ready to go to war.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Another thing with Marcus Aurelius, he was around when a pandemic hit Rome, and that lasted 20 years, and he killed millions of Romans, but he was still going to war. He was still going around helping people, and it was like a bad plague that was going around. So that's like a correlation I have with this guy too. So he helps me with my leadership skills. I try to.
Yeah, I feel like I always see you share quotes of his on Facebook, and they're always dope, and I always appreciate seeing them. It makes a reason why to go on Facebook when I see something positive like that, other than the rest of the bullshit that's on there.
Heck yeah. Yeah, and that's the only reason why I have a Facebook. So I don't have a Twitter or Instagram, but I just use it just to post some things, but then also for the business, but post like some quotes here and there that I see, just hoping somebody will read it and be like, I can probably use that, because that's what it's about. It's at the end of the day, I feel like it's always about helping the next people. So.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I guess with that being said, we'll move on to it. With helping people, you got into painting when you moved out to California, and then eventually started up your own business, which I can see from the outside in is doing fucking good. Walk us through to how you got into painting, and then how you got into owning your own business, because when you were out here, I don't think you ever painted. So how did all that come about?
Yeah, so when I moved to Hollister, that was 2016. And Hollister, for a lot of people that don't know, when they hear Hollister, they're like, the surf company, like,
Yeah.
But no, it's a small town in the Central Coast. I call it a brown town. That might sound a little racist, but that everyone calls it that. So it's a lot of hardworking Hispanic people. There's a lot of fields out there. So there's people working 16 hours in the field, bent over, picking stuff. So really a hard work ethic. But I remember my brother-in-law, he got me the job painting, and this company, I was only making 12 an hour, which was the minimum wage back then. But I remember I was working like 40 plus hours and not making like any money, coming home with like a $300 paycheck a week. But I think I always had that good work ethic from before. So I always wanted to be like, go, like I can get better and better. And so even after work, I would ask my coworkers like, hey, you got some side work? Like, I'll help for free. I'm just trying to learn how to paint, So I kind of leveled up pretty quick in painting. And but I was struggling in Hollister. Like, I was working a lot, but I was struggling. I couldn't provide for my family. I was living with my in-laws, luckily we had them. And then, once I moved to Sacramento, about like 3 years in the painting, that's when I started to flourish a little bit, started doing my own thing after learning. I had to earn my stripes pretty much painting. So
that's dope. And $300 a week out in California, god damn, that ain't shit.
You could buy a couple cartons of milk, bud.
Fuck, not even that. God damn.
Flush your toilet a few times a week.
Man, it was a struggle, man. I didn't even have a car too. So imagine that, you're trying to get to work in the morning, and when you do the construction trades, it's not just one job site you're going all across. I'm going all across the Bay Area and stuff, So I was really in the struggle, man. I mean, like, I really struggled. And the people I met down there, my coworkers, because painting, it's the lower end of the construction trades. I mean, anybody can become a painter. A lot of ex-felons and people that can't get jobs do painting, you know? So it's really hard. So I was surrounded by a lot of people that were struggling. So I heard their stories and realized where I came from. I'm like, you know what? And they're working like this. I need to work like this, if not do better. So now, luckily, I'm still in touch with a couple cool coworkers. I just try to motivate them. You know, I'm like, hey, you should be posting like this on Facebook instead of watching posts. You should be marketing to get jobs so you can get more money. Because the painting trade, you don't make nothing unless it's your job. That's what I learned.
That's awesome that you took that experience. You know, you hopped into this new trade, completely new to it. You seeked out as much knowledge, as much training as you can for the early years. And now you convert it into your own business to where you're hiring other people with the intention, from the sounds of it, to one day have them own their own business, to have them flourish. And there's something that I always speak about a lot. I think whenever you work at a job, you want to hire people to have an ownership mentality of the business. And I feel by like empowering them to do better, you know, empowering them to go out and seek their own business. I feel like by doing that, you're almost feeding them, you know, into becoming an owner, into thinking like an owner, into thinking like a business partner, which is probably helping out your business quite a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot how the quote goes, but it's like you get better helping people. You know, you get better yourself with whatever you do by helping people. But yeah, and really, I was earning my stripes and not with the mindset like an owner mindset, like, oh, I want to have my own company. It was more of like, I just want to raise. I want to make 14 an hour instead of 12 an hour. But once I moved to Sacramento, there was a guy that I met. He was younger than me, but he owned his own company. And I started working with him. And I remember the first day, he was like, yeah, so how I do raises is based off of goals. So let's say, okay, you don't have a car. Well, once you get a car, you'll make 16 an hour. Oh, you don't have your own house. Once you rent a house, then you'll make 20 an hour, you know? So he was like that, already kind of helping me for no reason. And this guy ended up buying me a car, like one of my first cars. It was a little beater car, but that was my car for work, you know? So he invested a lot into me that kind of helped me come up. And now all I could do is just pay it forward, you know? So shout out to Chance, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Chance.
That is so awesome, man. That's so rare. You know, from treating someone like a cog to treating him like a brother.
Yeah,
buying an employee a car. And like, I love the idea of that goal-oriented raise.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so
that's helping someone. Yeah, that's helping someone actually do more in life. And when I saw this guy, I didn't even know he was my boss the first day because he's younger than me, but he's blasted up with tattoos. You know, his face is tattooed, his neck. So you're thinking like, you know, you're kind of like iffy, but just his personality and demeanor. And then I think what it really is too, meeting a lot of people in NorCal, a lot of people up here come from struggle, but they kind of, a lot of them go through that adversity, you know, to get somewhere. So I kind of try to implement that too. I feel like this is like my original home. You know, Vegas is my home for sure, but this is like my people up here now, you know.
That's beautiful.
You guys are my people too, though.
Fucking better.
Don't forget about us.
Hey, yeah, no, but on a serious note, what you guys are doing right now, this is going to last past your lifetime. That's why I'm very thankful for you guys to do this, because after you guys are long gone, these conversations will be here for your kids and the generations to come, you know? So this is all good, applicable knowledge that's timeless. So thank you for having me on. I was kind of surprised that you guys asked me, like, whoa. You know,
no, dude, like me and Justin have had so many conversations, like thinking of, you know, people that are in that same brainwave, right? Whether they're entrepreneurs, they're wanting to start a business, they're just starting a business, whether they're owning, you know, their workplace and they're owning their work. If they're working 9 to 5, they're owning the fuck out of it. I can think of one person right now, Joshua Herrick. I'm not sure if you have him on Facebook. I know he does insurance. That man probably works 9 to 5, but he treats that work like an owner. That's a very, very rare mentality to have. And that's what this whole thing is getting these people around our same age group and just telling our story, passing it forward to someone else. Like you mentioned earlier, like imagine being trapped working a 9 to 5 that you fucking hate, right? And never being able to go after that thing that you love. Even if the 9 to 5 is what you love, that's great, dude. That's awesome. But the goal is to do something you love. And
Yeah.
So kind of going back to what you said, like, yes, this is timeless. This is something that our guest Robert Taylor said to us as well. So like I appreciate that compliment so much. At the end of the day, we're here and we bring great people on like you here just to be able to help maybe one other person. Help somebody else start their business, help someone else, take their job maybe to the next level. Whatever it may be, I think we all have greatness within us. Often
Absolutely.
society buries us down.
Yeah, and it starts from school too. Like you kind of just don't. It's not something like they kind of hinder it in school, which kind of leads into the adult life. Some people get lucky finding it, and then a lot of people kind of don't. Just the way how the system is built. So even if it's hating a side job, but it's good money, even if we can motivate or just bring a positive outlook on something where maybe someone can start a side business that that can just help them get that extra dollar in life for something that they do love.
Yep.
Something like a Feej to where he quit the 9 to 5 to finally start his own business, or if it's someone that continues on with their 9 to 5 but is able to build a good side hustle to treat their family on that much more of a better vacation, or to have that much more better of a life, or even if it just straight up brings them happiness in life and they just continue leaving the same. That really seems to be what it is. And it's always dope to have. And it actually reminds me of like, wow, we're surrounded by a lot of dope fucking people. Like we are surrounded by a lot of cool fucking people that have a story to tell, and it's when we can get people on here that have a story to tell, especially our friends, it just makes it that much more better. Like having other people on here that we don't know obviously is the goal as well, but getting our friends on here and giving them a platform to share their story, like yourself, a Feej, just makes it that much more cool, and makes it dope as fuck. Like I'm sure Giovanni feels the same way as well. Well, we're able to give someone that platform to tell their story, to tell your story, because you guys deserve to share that insight. There's a lot of value in it.
It's so easy to get caught in like the meat and gritty of running your own business and thinking of the next moves, and thinking about this one worker who may need some time off or who may need a raise, that you often stop to realize like, look at what you fucking created. Right? Like you created this thing from the ground up, and like, congratulations to you for that, man. Like give yourself a big pat on the back. Cause like at the end of the day, like not many people even get there.
And thank you. Thank you. Well, what you guys do to go on your note about the podcast, I bet that feeling of providing a platform for someone, that kind of feeling, money can't buy, or even if you did win the lottery, like, that's great. But what you're doing here, that's going to live longer than that money, So that's a beautiful thing, man. Thinking about it.
It's absolutely therapeutic,
Therapeutic. There you go.
It's very, very therapeutic.
Yeah, we've got on here and shared some very personal shit, and it will only progress more. But yeah, I mean, we've gotten done with podcasts and sat on the phone and talked about it, whether if it was from anywhere from like an ex-girlfriend that got treated like shit, or just very, just personal shit. The second episode I was talking about me getting sober and all that, and just sharing like just some personal stories. It's dope. It's therapeutic. And like I've always told people, it's like when me and Giovanni like meet up, I mean, we have these type of conversations anyways. So it's like the only difference is now is that we have a mic and a camera in front of us, and now we could just extend that branch to people who do want to share their stories. So it's dope. It's fucking, like for me, like the music is something that I definitely want to live past me, but having something like this with a camera, something that's getting documented, that's going to be around, like what you said, till we, lives longer than us, is dope, because whether if it's a family member, a kid of mine, or whatever it is, or someone who just stumbles and finds this, they can see deeper than a real estate agent, a musician, anything like that, and kind of can get to know a true human being at its finest. And then along with your kids and whoever's kids, whoever else's kids that their parent will be on here, they get to see Daddy Lee talk about
Daddy Lee,
where he is at this at this stage in life right now. And it's a dope thing. It's a dope thing.
Yeah.
But
I really think that
go ahead,
Giovanni. Yeah, just very quick. I really think this painting is going to be the start of something great. I'm not sure if you have other big moves in play. I'm assuming that you do. You've always been a very outward thinker, but I'm excited to see like what is next. There's always another plan with Hungry Minds. Is that something that you can reveal now, or like something you kind of want to keep low key until it drops? Like,
there's no exact next move. I take it. I take it the way I see things. I have like a retirement plan. I'm going to get life insurance, for the future. But all that we have is this present moment. We never live in the future and we never live in the past. All we have is right now. So I always try to stay focused on what's ahead of me at this time, because I could die and get hit by a car tomorrow, so why plan? But I have some startup ideas that have to go with the painting company. I watch Shark Tank all the time. That's like the only show I watch. So I have some ideas to help people not fall off ladders and stuff like that. I'll just reveal that. But
I watch those videos you post, and oh my god, the OSHA violations, dude.
Oh man, and I've seen it, bro. And I've fallen off a ladder when I was working at Starkweather Painting in Hollister, and I fell off a ladder from a 2-story building, and it wasn't my fault. It's not like I set up the ladder wrong. There was another guy from a different company, a labor guy, had a wheelbarrow and wasn't looking, and he hit one of my legs out. And so I fell, got up, like hopped up, and this guy is screaming his head off because the ladder fell on his hands. I'm like, man, it's a 20-pound aluminum ladder and you're screaming, but I just fell off of it from 2 stories high, But what I should have did, or what most people would do, that's workers' comp. So I get like at least $20K now, out of that. But I didn't do it. I was like, you know what? Nah, I don't need that. I'm not hurt. So let's just keep pushing.
God damn, dude. That sounds terrifying.
Is that what sparked up the idea for one of the next things that like you're going to create, was from that scenario?
Yeah, so I guess I'll drop it. I have an idea for.
No, don't drop it. Don't drop it.
Okay. Don't drop it. It has to do with ladders and falling, so it's kind of
no. Enough said. We can talk about it off camera though.
Yeah,
but there you go. Yeah, we'll
off
do
the
that.
recording. But yeah, don't reveal it. Don't reveal it.
Okay. Yeah, but
we'll get brought back into the old Vegas ways when we see someone steal your idea, and it might be bad.
we got a lot going for us now.
We got a lot to lose, but goddamn, you steal an idea, man, it might be a different story. But I want to bring it back real quick, because I think that this is where it brings a lot of value in for someone who's just working a regular job. So you're working for another company making 12 to 13 an hour, and you're trying to get those pay raises to get yourself, basically, I would imagine, in California, poverty in its own way. You move to Sacramento, you're around new surroundings. What got you, and how did it get you into owning your own business? What was that leap?
The leap was, so the whole background story of how it started, after I met Chance, that I told you, the guy that was younger than me, that was my boss. with him, he's an ex-felon. So in California, you need a contractor's license, which is a long process. It's very expensive. Like it's a big thing. But if you have a felony, you can't apply for one. So that was his thing. And if you get popped without a license out here, I mean, it's over. Like it's over. And they do that. They do sting operations. So with him, when I first worked with him, which was June 2019, it was a few months. We're just working. He had a lot of work, and I was killing jobs for him, learning more about the trade. And then in the wintertime, like he had like 6 employees, and he only kept me and my brother-in-law during the winter, because wintertime is always slow for painters because no one wants painters in their house during the holidays. So we were really struggling for work, you know. So he bought me this car. I barely have money for gas because we're barely working, and he's cold calling people, going door to door, knocking, trying to get work. And he kind of just planted in my head, like, why don't you try to reach out and contact people, you know? And seeing how he is, like the visual, like how I said, he's all tattooed up and he's going door to door. No one's gonna really trust him. But hey, I don't have a felony. I'm not all tatted up like that. I look more presentable. So I started playing that role a little bit more. He kind of just like planted that seed. And then it got to a point, I remember the first job I posted on Facebook in this group, like, hey, I'm just a painter. I'm looking for work. I need it. It was right before Christmas too. And this one guy messaged me back, and I kept bothering him because he didn't want to book a date for me to go start. And it was with kitchen cabinets. And with cabinet painting, painters hate cabinets because it's really tedious, detailed work. Like a wall is easy, but when you deal with wood, with grease and all this stuff, it's hard. So I hated doing cabinets, but that was my first job. And I just made sure I did a really good job. I only made a couple hundred, but ever since that, that was my first job. This guy, the owner or the homeowner, he made a before and after picture for me, sent it to me, and then he told me to start using that on Facebook. And as soon as I did that, boom, I started to get a lot of people contacting me. And so, a big thing is too, that's kind of, I try to always give advice to people that are doing it, is use Facebook, because Facebook Marketplace, where you sell used items, that's you don't have to pay for that. And that listing is at the top page, and you can refresh it. So every week it's up there, you know? So that's what I did. And man, I just started getting a lot of work, like a lot of estimates. I was just lowballing it, and I was just getting a lot of work. And the thing was, I was doing it all out of a 1993 Corolla. So not even a work truck. I had an old small car filled with painting stuff, the sprayer, cabinet rack. And, you know, I came from that kind of struggle, the opposite end. You know? So it all paid off, but that's how it started. So that's why now it's like, man, if I ever see anyone struggling or anything else, I always try to help them, you know? Like that was a big thing that I always did, seeing homeless people. Like that thing, it hurts me so bad. I always have to give homeless people, like, I don't care what they use it for, because that's on them, but it's always paying it forward now, you know, because that's what someone did for me.
That's a beautiful
that's
thing.
That's a good gem too, because it's one of those, in its own way, it's like a simple stupid thing. Like everyone's on Facebook, and the marketplace is right there. Shit, when you want to buy something, you know, you'll go to the marketplace. But as far as like promoting your work, it's one of those like simple stupid things, until you hear it, you're like, oh wow, that's easy. It's a simple tool to use. And that's dope that you started utilizing that. I think Feach has gotten the same work from that too, is posting on the Facebook marketplace. And same thing with Danny, with owning his LED billboard truck, is utilizing that Facebook market tool. So anyone who's listening, don't sleep on, you know, you're going to go on Facebook anyways, motherfucker. Go to that goddamn marketplace. You're going to go on there and see a bunch of bullshit. Go there and promote.
Yeah. And I'm so glad to hear that you told me that, because I actually gave them my advice, like what I did to help promote. Because I see them posting on Facebook on the news feed, but no one's going to see it locally. And I just gave them my 2 cents, but I didn't know like if they took it and ran with it. But it's beautiful to hear that they ate the food that I served them. So they took a couple nibbles, and now they're doing their thing. That's beautiful, man. I'm happy.
Not only did you give them that food to put on their plate, they're getting more food from that
Yeah.
and eating from that same plate.
Yeah, it's a buffet now, all you can eat.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah. Take it as you want, don't leave hungry.
See, that's such a good mentality, man. I think for a lot of businesses, they have a mentality of there's scarcity, right? There's scarcity, and like you have to compete and bring down other competitors in order to make your business go well. But so often, like having some sort of cooperation, helping each other grow brings more attention to that platform, brings more attention to a wider range of people. And often you can cross network the hell out of people, right? Like if someone gets hired for painting, right, they need their work to be painted. Hey, they may need some landscaping done as well, or
Exactly.
vice versa. And then, hey, maybe they own a business. Now they can have, someone who like markets for them. Maybe they host events, right? Now they have Justin who can go ahead and do the event hosting. That event went well. They want to buy a house. They have me, right? And it's like it can all start like as long as you cross network and like don't try and be greedy and hold people as if they're your fucking property. Because at the end of the day, dude, the world's plentiful.
Yeah, and what you're saying is so true. That's why I love the trade I picked, because not only that, where you can cross and help other trade people, the homeowners you meet, you doing residential, you never know who you're going to run into. I met guys that are engineers, some that are mentors, some millionaires. So I met all kinds of different people. And it's funny. I feel like things are really like kind of destined, because I was talking to my old trainer about starting my website. He's like, yeah, just make a 20-second video of yourself, because I do a lot of estimates online, which is like the new age. And he told me that. And then the job I started right after, this guy is the senior editor for videos and stuff for some big company,
Nice.
So you always meet people like that, and you build connections. And then if you just do honest work, then the referrals come in, and it's cool, man. That's why I like, because you get to hear people's stories too, people that you just met that you're only going to know for a few days and probably never see again, So that's why I love this trade. I wouldn't trade it for nothing if I had to.
Yeah, and any work.
Really, that's really good that you bring that up. With you never know who you're gonna meet from doing that. Because it's always something like with me on the music end, if you go have a gig, there's not too many people there for. You just never know. That's why you always play as if there's 1,000 people there, because you just never know. Even if there's only 3 people in the building with the workers, sometimes only including the workers at the venue, you just never know at the end of the day who you're working for, who you're DJing for, who you're showing houses for. You just never know who it is that you're talking to, because like you said, you go in there, do honest work. You go, you play for 1,000 people. You're being, your hospitality is up, showing people's houses. Showing a person a house, whatever it is. You just absolutely just don't know who you're talking to, and that person may lead into the next bigger opportunity, or just having another person in your contacts list that can help you down the line. So it's very cool that you said that, because it just dawned on me where I was like, shit. Yeah. I mean, in my field, you just never know who you're running across for, or who you're running into. Which is really good that you hold that mindset, especially something like you, where your trade is like, they have to look at those cabinets, or they have to look at that wall fucking every single day. So it's like,
exactly,
that's really dope.
Yeah.
You do great work, by the way, man. I absolutely love seeing the before and after photos. I think I've done pretty well to add like a reaction or a comment to each one that I've seen so far. Not sure if I've missed any, but like I just absolutely love it's something about before and after that's so visually appealing and captivating.
It catches your eye, right?
Like immediately, like it just opens up so much. Like, I want that done. Like I wonder how mine will look, right? Like it's so it's good, man. You're absolutely killing it. I hope that you continue doing so.
Yeah, well, thank you. You know what? And a big thing that kind of stuck with me too was having that good culture. And I learned that from when you had your company at 19 years old, killing the game. Now I see all these meal prep companies. I'm like, man, I remember the first person doing meal prep, So, but just I remember going to Zappos and remember how they're all about the culture. Like your workers, there's no break, there's no supervisor. So that's how I am too. You know, I'm an operating owner. So most contractors in my game, they just do estimates. They have their workers do the work for them, and they do marketing. I do all of that. So I'm there in the mud grinding with my workers. Get home early, doing estimates, and then sometimes I gotta do marketing. Sometimes I gotta do some bookkeeping. You know, so I try to juggle all of it just so it's a even playing field. And then I even go beyond a little bit. Like the paint store I go to, I'm their customer, so they should be treating me sometimes. But I always buy these guys donuts or like energy drinks just to do it, you know, just because they're cool and they're nice people. So I'm like, you know what, you guys deserve that. You know, while you make my paint, enjoy this donut and the energy.
Yeah.
And what they don't understand too is that you've always been that type of person, even if like you're literally that person who will give your shirt off the back for somebody. Like, even if you don't have much, I wish I can emphasize to those people, and it's dope that as you become a boss that you continue to implement that, because I remember, you know, us being young, barely having any money and shit like that, that you would be that person who would give that last couple bucks that you had to the next person. Or, you know, if we needed energy drinks for the night for a gig or something, whatever the case may be, or some food, like you were literally that fucking person. That fucking, like, you are the epitome of giving the shirt off your back to the next person, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, because that's not always a good trait to have, because people can take advantage of that pretty easy. You know, and I've always been easily influenced, I like to say. So I've been through those ropes too, where I've been taken advantage of. But the hear you say that, like you recognize that, dang, you know, I didn't even recognize that. So thank you.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's only the truth, you know. It's something that I wish I could express to more people, and especially the people that you're treating, where it's like, this is a good fucking guy you got. Like, this is a good guy. Man, I just can't express it enough that you're literally the epitome of giving the shirt off your back to the next person. Or if you only got a couple bucks, that you will give that couple bucks to the next person, if that's all that you have. For sure.
Thank you.
So we're reaching like the 1 hour mark. We like to keep these around 1 hour. I do have one question though that I want to pick from you that I think you'll have a unique answer to, just based off like, you know, your stoic background and as far as just who you are, right?
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who was to start their own business, or who wanted to start their own business?
No, it would be I would ask them, like, what are you starting your business for? Like, are you doing it because you want to make a lot of money? Are you doing it because it's something you like to do? Or like what's the real driving motivation? Because that whatever answer they give me, then I can give advice, you know, like advice, not advice if it'll work or not, but like kind of what direction to go to, or where you'll kind of cap at. You know, because I hear a lot of millionaires, entrepreneurs, after they make it, we as humans, we're kind of never satisfied. We always want more, no matter what. And a lot of them say at the end of the day, all that matters is giving back, you know? So that's what I would say. It kind of depends. I'm sorry I don't have a straight answer. It's kind of more of like I would have to ask them a question.
We could read in between the lines. At the end of the day, you want somebody to have an honest reason, a selfless reason.
So yeah, selfless, but not. I can't say that, because it's like a happy medium. It's like, of course, you're doing it for the money or maybe autonomy a little bit, but also just, I don't know, man. I can't give a straight answer. I'm sorry.
No, it's a good one though. It's
that's a good.
It still provides a lot of value in its own way too. If you do want to become a business owner or something, or you know, you want to take that leap, what is the driving force? Why? What and why? Which is fucking huge. And I think that's something that everyone should be asking themselves, because a lot of people want to leave their 9 to 5 and start something, but they don't, there's no why into their business that they want to do, which kind of just leads them continuously working at that 9 to 5 with a forever dream, a dream that never becomes a goal, which I think is huge. But we'll go ahead and cap it with one last question. And about a 60-second response, what does success mean to Devin Coleman?
Success means just enjoying your time here, because we're always going to want more. We always want praise, which doesn't matter at the end of the day. Praise is just a clacking of tongues, I like to say. So success for me is just being happy with your time, and no matter what you do. If you wake up and have a 9-to-5 that you don't like, find something you like about it. There's always a good and the bad, no matter what. There's always something to like. So that's my success right there.
That's beautiful.
Like
that's well said.
Answer. Yeah, I love
that's
it.
Well said. Well, everybody, this is the Independent Mind Podcast. I am DJ Mixwell. That's Giovanni, my motherfucking brother, Devin Coleman. We know him as Black Lee. You know him as Devin. Tune in next week for the Independent Mind Podcast. And remember, stay hungry, stay focused. Peace.
Peace.